Now it's time to take a look at the past 5 decades with this guy, our historian, Elliot Harrison, who has the best team draft coming out of the 1970s, so on and so forth. But, of course, we will begin when they wore bell bottoms, my man.
Yeah, that's right, man. Throwback Thursday, right? So we're talking team draft classes. I like what the Jags did here in 2016, but I want to look at the best team class from each of the last 5 decades. So let's start with the 70s.
Okay.
And to me, this one is a no-brainer. It's easy. It's got to be the 1974 Steelers. How many teams get 4 Hall of Famers in one draft class? How about never? How about nobody ever? All right. So who you seeing right here? That's John Stallworth.
Mr. Stallworth.
Mr. Stallworth made some incredible plays, especially in that Super Bowl, and especially this. But look at this catch. You know how hard that is to do right over your helmet like that, tracking the ball? That is Super Bowl 14. And then he did it again later in the fourth quarter. That's tough to do. That's a big touchdown. That was also the cover of Sports Illustrated. Swann, also in the 1974 draft.
Amazing.
You bet. This is Super Bowl 10. This is Super Bowl 14. I tell you what, Swann, big game player. Not as prolific as Stallworth with the numbers, but Swann was fantastic.
But fortunately, stats don't matter. Defensively.
There you go. Jack Lambert, second-round pick. Jack Lambert was in 1974. What a fantastic career he had. Hall of Famer Turf Toe ended his career. He was still playing at an all-pro level, guys. That's probably the best team draft class of all time. Also, a center, Mike Webster, Hall of Fame.
Yes.
All right.
4 in one draft class. 4.
Let's head to the decade that loved neon colors. That's the 1980s. That's our wheelhouse, isn't it?
It's my Lionel Richie decade. That's right. 1986, San Francisco 49ers. Yes, dancing on the ceiling.
What a feeling.
Let's take a look.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I want to show some guys that you played against, because this was your rookie year, 1986.
That is
Jamie
correct.
Dukes, you played these guys twice a year. Charles Haley, how tough was he to block?
He was terrible. I want to eat you. That's what I want to do. He sounded just like Tyson all the time.
Yeah, that was him beating Bill Fralick right there, your former teammate. Okay, John Taylor, who's that? Only the guy that caught the winning touchdown in Super Bowl 23. John Taylor, a 3rd-round pick. Charles Haley, a 4th-round pick. And then after we see this, there's the game-winning catch. Their second 4th-round pick was that guy, number 74, left tackle, Steve Wallace.
Steve Wallace.
Now, you might have seen The Blind Side, but if you read the book, Michael Lewis talked about how Steve Wallace was the prototype of the left tackle, that mammoth guy that could take out an edge rusher. Bill Walsh knew he needed it because there was a guy named Lawrence Taylor that was wrecking the entire NFC.
Yeah, well, the Steelers team of the 70s, the team we just saw, that was the team of the 80s, and I think I know which way you're going. Now to the 90s, who you got?
Yeah, it's the Dallas Cowboys, and I could have picked a couple of drafts here, to be honest. 1991 is where I went.
Big E!
It's where they set up the team.
Jamie, when you talk about dominant players that have been forgotten.
Put him in the Hall of Fame.
This guy, he neutralized.
You see who he's doing that to?
Bruce Smith.
That guy is the all-time leading sack leader. Yep. This is the meanest tackle in the game. Go ahead.
You bet. No, that's fine. He neutralized Reggie White, too. A car accident. Hurt his knee, was not quite the same player. Alvin Harper was only with the Cowboys for 4 years, but he was their home run guy, their big play guy. Cole, I see you're nodding your head because how many highlights did you see?
Huge.
And let me tell you when you get value in a draft. When you get a 5-year starter in the 12th round out of TCU, you're doing something. Yeah, did Neil O'Donnell gift wrap it? Fine, you still got to catch it.
Gift wrapped a few of them.
Yeah, you still got to catch it. Okay.
He hand delivered a few of them.
And oh, by the way, also in this draft, 7th round, Leon Lett. First overall pick, Russell Maryland. That's 5 quality starters in one draft class, man.
Team of the 90s, so we moved to the 2000s.
Okay, 2000s. Now, this team did not win the Super Bowl, but this draft kept the New York Jets viable for years, and they had a heck of a haul in 2000. We'll start with a guy who, boy, as soon as he left Atlanta, Jamie, they had no pass rush. John Abraham. They still don't have one.
Still don't.
How about over 130 career sacks for John Abraham? Now, anomaly for the Jets in 2000 is the fact that they had 4 first-round picks. Shawn Ellis was one of them, a very solid player for over a decade in the league, a 2-time Pro Bowler, a great player, or at least Hall of Very Good player, along with John Abraham. And then how about friend of the program, Cole? Chad Pennington. You bet.
That's right.
I love the trivia question. Name the AFC East quarterback that's won the division in the Tom Brady era. There's only one. It was Chad Pennington for the 08 Dolphins and for the Jets as well. Chad Pennington, unfortunately, had some shoulder problems, but fantastic.
I would take them off the list only because they had 4 first-round picks.
Okay.
Every other draft that you had, you showed the depth. You know, Steve Wallace, 4th round, Leon Lett, late-round picks. That's the only reason I would. Go ahead.
I got you. But in the 8th round, they got Lavernius Coles, who was pretty doggone good pick in the 8th round. Yeah. But I hear what you're saying. 4 first-round picks. Come on, you better knock it out of the park.
Really.
All right, let's talk.
2010s. What you got?
2010. But still throwback, right? 2010 Seattle Seahawks, guys. I mean, you're going to look at the nucleus of their Super Bowl championship team, the team that beat the Denver. Russell Okung, big part of that team that beat the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl 48.
See that holding there? Go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And almost won Super Bowl 49.
They were. My goodness.
You bet. I just laugh at your commentary, always on the O-line. Do you have anything to say about Earl Thomas?
Earl Thomas. What can you say about Earl Thomas?
Fantastic.
Grown man.
Yeah, and then Cam Chancellor. What I like about Cam Chancellor, guys, is there's just not a lot of enforcers like him. I think the Falcons, we just mentioned them, they're trying to do that with Keanu O'Neal. That's what they want. But how many teams can actually get a Cam Chancellor? And I don't think Seattle wins the Super Bowl without Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, and Russell Okung.
There's no doubt.
Yep.
But I want to say one thing. We have a lot of debates on this show, and we usually don't carry our work over to the next day, but sometimes you got to. And I don't know what you guys do after the show. I especially don't know what you do after the show. But I went home, and I want to show you, this is what the 49ers uniform should look like, sir. Not that black junk that you were promoting. This is classic.
It is classic.
I had to go to the library. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Look at this.
That's nice.
Why is this painted on here? Because this is what the 49ers Throwback Thursday. This is what it needs to look
You
like.
might owe a fine on that book. Actually, you
those
should go
black
take it back.
unis.
Show me your library
The black unis are awesome.
Or did you steal that book? Where's your library card?
I like the
It's
the
actually
black
my
unis.
book. I just like the
Is there a
cover.
place to put a card in?